Hi, I'm Echo's mom. I don't normally do this because, I hate videos of myself. But I wanted to post a video myself because I'm getting overwhelmed with this information and I cannot be the only one. So I came across, while trying to fix my YouTube, another 60 seconds news thing that was, or a 60 minutes thing on from Australia that discussed the quote unquote TikTok tics, a psychological disorder that started in the middle of COVID. COVID, causes inflammation in the brain. They know that. You can actually Google movement disorder and COVID, and it will come up that they know that COVID causes movement disorders. So the fact that these doctors decided that these teenage girls that are having an increase in movement disorder must be from TikTok, not from the pandemic, from the virus that we actually didn't know enough about. Sorry, my car. So we don't know enough about this virus yet. Now they do, and they know that, it caused inflammation. However, what ended up happening is you have sexism, because boys were having it too. Boys were coming across it. In fact, her cousin, who was a boy, also started having tics around the same time, in the same way. Again, we are talking about a condition that is known to cause inflammation in the basal ganglia area of the brain, which is where motor and verbal functioning exists. So the fact that they call it psychological is failing our children. Our children are being failed because doctors are seeing that and going, oh yeah, we don't need to run any medical tests. We don't need to run anything that, would potentially find that there's a treatment that's needed to treat these kids for this disorder that, we just don't know what it is. It must be psychological because, they watch TikTok, which, by the way, my daughter never watched Tics on TikTok before she started ticking. So that's a bunch of bull crap. So it just, let alone the fact that tics caused from inflammation in the brain is a known thing for well before COVID started. So obviously Tourette's has also been around for a really long time. And they can, here's why. Okay. I'm in several Facebook groups, of different parents who are, and patients who have been diagnosed with tics and Tourette's and PANS and PANDAS and, natural treatments and just several. Okay. And the repeat comments that I see over and over again are parents going, I can't get tests run. They're not looking for anything. They just see my child and they say, we can't help you. They're not running any medical tests. They're not getting him any help. Over and over and over again, I have found no one who is on there going, go to see this doctor, because this doctor will, search for this, and find the cause of what is going on. All I see is posts of, they ran a couple things, or they did like an MRI and maybe like a CBC, and that was about it. And so they just said, I can't help you. You need to go to a neurologist. And the neurologist goes, you need to see a psychiatrist because I can't help you because it's a movement disorder. And then you have psychiatrists saying, no, you need to go to a neurologist. Like, nobody is getting help. Nobody is getting tested. This is insane. Okay. I can see if you're part of a group and you've got people who are like, yep, this is how this happened to me. Yep, I was able to go to this doctor and this doctor. Then yeah, fine. I'll call it a psychological disorder because they ruled everything out. The problem is nobody's getting ruled out. Nobody is getting tested for anything that's important. And it took me 2 years for an infectious disease doctor to actually test her. I walked in with 7 different things that I wanted tested. He only agreed to 3 of them. 3 out of the 7. I had to thank God that one of those 3 actually came back positive. 2 years of trying to find something that was like proof. Because yes, there were tests done. And yes, they were negative. But I don't see the point in stopping. So you have like these tests that are in the back of your mind, and you're like, okay, so once those are run, they're run. Well, that's done. No, I'm sorry. You keep testing until you find out. I mean, I get it if you offer the test and the mom or the patient is like, no, I'm done. I don't want to run anything more. I'm done with these tests. I just want to call it as it is. Then that makes sense. But doctors are turning down patients for help. They are not helping. They are not testing. They are not helping these kids. They are calling them psychological disorders. And 2 years later, mycoplasma pneumonia comes back positive, not for just a past infection, but a current infection. She's put on antibiotics. The cold symptoms she had for months left. Her personality did a full 180. She was so depressed and so miserable, and would just say, I don't know why. I'm just sad. And now if you ask her, how are you doing? She's like, I'm happy. I'm finally happy. I'm just so glad that my child can get help. But I'm sorry, I'm empathetic. And I'm empathetic to all these moms and all these parents that are out there going, I don't know what's wrong. I can't get any help. I can't get any doctors to do anything to help me. All they give me is like, oh, this antipsychotic medication, this anti-seizure medication, and it's not helping. Unfortunately, there are people whose antibiotics aren't helping. Ibuprofen doesn't help everyone like it did with Echo. And I can't even say that absolutely every patient has like an actual bacterial infection or fungal infection or autoimmune disorder or whatever all these things are. But doctors aren't ruling them out either. So you're talking about a whole cluster of these teenage girls that doctors are ignoring because they are writing it off as just psychological. I mean, even in the 60-second or the 60-minute news article, I didn't even get through the whole thing yet before I was like, I'm videotaping. Finally, I lost it. I'm like, so even in there, it said it almost came overnight, like a switch was turned on. And guess what? That's pandas. That is literally how that works. Because what happens is, like the inflammation and the bacteria or however it is going on. My educational guess is it's kind of similar to MS, how you've got the nerves that are coated and the immune system attacks the coating of the nerve endings that are in the brain. And then once a hole is created, the fluid rushes in and puts pressure on that nerve. And then the body, goes and heals the the lining again, and with scar tissue, which is harder and more irregular. And so that scar tissue, if it's not properly built, can put pressure on the nerve. And so the damage that happens ends up being permanent. Since doctors really don't know what's going on, I mean, everybody's just practicing, everybody's just guessing, people don't really know. How do they know how much inflammation is needed to cause this? And then once it happens, so if it is like a switch, if it is like a hole that gets created into the lining or of the nerve ending, and it's just one hole, maybe it just attacks that specific area and just creates that one hole, and motor tics come and verbal tics come, and then that's it. And then the body heals itself, and you either have the scar tissue there or you don't. And, like that, okay, that's MS. That's how that works. How do they know that that's not what's going on? How do they know that COVID didn't maybe get in there, or influenza got in there, or ABV is known to be connected with MS, and ABV is known to cause tics and potentially Tourette. Who knows? Tourette's is really, I've been questioning the idea that Tourette's isn't absolutely caused by inflammation in the brain, and the doctors just didn't know because they never looked that hard. I could be wrong. I mean, there's whole institutes and stuff. And I am just one person who is reading a whole bunch of articles of people who are just not getting any help. And desperately asking for help. They're desperately asking other people, what have you taken that's helped? Where can I go? What doctor will help me? Just over and over again. And I just think it is horrifying that because this one doctor in the UK decided to publish an article that said, oh yes, in my professional opinion, based on the increase of females that I have seen, the only thing I can connect him to is TikTok. Oh, that's what it is. It's TikTok in the middle of a pandemic when everybody is sad all around that same time. These girls are, watching TikTok. Okay, so what tests did you run? How many? So all these doctors read this one article and went, oh, okay, so I don't need to run any tests because it's obviously psychological. And so these poor girls were ignored and not tested. I'd like to know if there were any boys out there that were happening around the same time. And I'd like to know if their doctors ran tests. Just to make sure. And they have to be a little older, and they're on that 12 to 14 range. And just out of curiosity, because I know that a lot of doctors too also look at moms as being crazy. Right. So it just went crazy. They took that one article that was based on zero scientific research, zero scientific evidence, and just went with it. And all these patients went untested and untreated. And so if that inflammation, the COVID, if that's what that did, and it attacked the brain, and created the hole around the same time, because the variants, remember there's variants. Remember what we didn't know what all those variants were doing. And it was right after they went back to school. So all these kids went to school from like September to November. They all passed around all their germs. And of course there's going to be an increase, because now you just had the spread that just happened because they all went back to school. Oh my God. And then they were put back on lockdown, and they claimed it was because they put back on lockdown. Well, I'm pretty sure that the reason they went back on lockdown was because all of a sudden there was this explosion of new cases. And so they're like, no, we got to go back. That was a bad idea. And all of a sudden it's like, oh, no. Yeah. Okay. So let's say it works very similar to MS and the damage was done. Well, since patients weren't being tested right away, and they were waiting, and they didn't get the help that they needed. By the time that they were running tests, I mean, I couldn't get any really serious testing until March. And even in January, she came back positive for her ANA, which is signals an autoimmune disorder. But at Mayo, by March, after being put on antibiotics in January, Mayo said, no, her ANA is negative, so must not be that. I'm just like, you didn't look at that time, like the fact that it happened, and about 6 months later that she started to heal and she was good. She was tick-free all summer, which was fabulous. And then come back to school, she gets sick again, and sick, over and over and over again. And the antibiotics aren't working again. And she goes from like one tick and gets sick, and then gets 2 ticks, and then sick, and then suddenly a full-blown attack. Because I'm sorry, but that's kind of how MS works too. You get an attack, it creates a hole, boom, it's done, overnight, instant. And then it takes time to heal. And that's what happens. That's what it seems like is happening with these kids. They wake up overnight and suddenly they're ticking, or they're having attacks, or they're miserable. And then 6 months later, it goes away and they're fine. And maybe it doesn't happen again because maybe the brain figured out how to do it without attacking itself. I have no idea. But I do know that there is a consistency between all of these. Okay, not all of the patients, but a lot of the patients that aren't getting help. And so I am not even in the medical industry. I have a 2-year degree in medical information, and I am very obsessed over researching and trying to find every little thing I can to figure out what is wrong. So I'm not uneducated, because I've educated myself a lot, but I've also talked to a lot of patients in the sense of on these posts and these articles, and all I'm doing is desperately trying to help these people with the information I have. But I'm not a doctor. I can't run tests for these people, and they can't get help. So I'd like to know when at one point doctors are going to realize that they're failing their patients. I want to I want a lawyer who's willing to start suing doctors for not doing a darn thing, because that's what they're doing. They're not helping. So instead of being sued for malpractice because they helped in the wrong way, I want to start suing them for not helping, for turning down people who are asking for tests. I want to see that lawsuit, because that's what should happen. Because doctors are all we have. We don't have access to those tests. If we had access to the tests and there was no medical doctor standing in their way with their ego and their opinions that are standing in the way of us asking for tests to make sure that all of the tests were run. No one ever offered Mycoplasma pneumoniae, and yet so many articles are known for that. Even her Pans Pandas doctor knows COVID and Mycoplasma cause that. And Mycoplasma pneumoniae causes cold symptoms, and we're repetitively asking for help with the chronic cold symptoms, and they're like, we'll just treat the ticks. You can't treat. That's like trying to clean a dirty toilet. You can't clean the dirty toilet. You have to flush the toilet first and then treat the symptom. It was just ridiculous that it took 2 years. 2 years to test for something as simple as Mycoplasma pneumoniae. Herpes simplex or herpes simplex, I don't know, 1 and 2, that is known for it. There's Bartonella is known for it, let alone Lyme's disease is apparently very tricky to find, and that is very known to cause this condition. And I know that they're still doing research, and so there's, I'm rambling, it's been 20 minutes. Okay, so that is my statement. I want a lawyer, I want doctors, and I want news people to reach out to me, because if there is anything I can do, I will give you all of the proof. I will give you, I will go on, the news articles running these false TikTok Tics thing, all you did was hurt so many teenage girls. You need to realize that your articles you decided to run hurt patients who actually needed help. They needed medical diagnostic tests run to figure out and get proper treatment, and not just thrown medicine at, because that's all they did was throw medicine at them. I don't know what it is. Here, have some tick medicine that, causes other, poor, what's the symptoms, the side effects. Oh my God. So yeah, here, have all these medications that cause horrible side effects. But then that's not on me. I didn't run any tests to figure out if this was the right medication. We're just going to hope for the best. And here, have some medication. And then patients are like, oh, it's not working. It's not working. It's not helping. Well, I wonder why. You didn't get tested for anything. You didn't get the right treatment. Why? Why are the tests not being run? I understand if the parents are denying it. I understand if they're like, oh, it's too expensive. Okay, I understand all that. But if you have a patient who's like, I don't care what it costs. Insurance is going to cover it. Why are you not running the tests? Why? What is your freaking problem? Like, I just don't get it. You can do it. I believe in you. I believe in the fact that you can help these people. And you know how you can help these people? By running tests to help these people. Look for all the infectious diseases. Look for them. You didn't look for them. Look for them. Yeah, the MRI is negative. Yeah, your ANA is negative. Yeah, your CBC. Oh, by the way, her CBC white blood cell count was chronically high. Oh, but no, let's not look for the infectious disease. What the hell is wrong with you? Oh, well, it's a virus. There's not anything you can do to treat it. Tell that to the people who are trying to find treatment for COVID, because they were doing so much research to try to find an antiviral. They know there's antiviral medications out there. No, it may not treat it and make it go away, but it can absolutely help control it. And if you can control the virus that's causing the brain to attack itself, then you might be able to control the brain attacking itself. Let alone that there's even still immune suppressive treatments that my husband is getting for his MS. Use that for your research. Like, just help these kids, these poor kids. I just think for decades, these poor kids are just being told they have Tourette's and are left at that. And nobody's running any diagnostics to find out, oh, maybe this patient needs antibiotics. And maybe then this patient will recover and tics won't come back for them ever again. And they won't be put through this. And they won't be ignored, and they'll be given proper treatment. And that's all I want, because I don't want to read anymore on these parents that are just desperately trying to find help. They're going to natural treatments because they have to, because doctors aren't giving them it. Like actual effective treatments. They have to go to holistic. They have to go to functional medical doctors. They have to pay out their butt for medical help, because it's not like insurance is going to help because they don't believe the condition exists. Or in Minnesota, it does exist here. So insurance will cover it, will cover treatment, but you have to run tests in order to find it. But if you're not going to run tests, then you can't find it. Therefore, then insurance isn't going to cover it when there's no proof that they have it, because you're not running the tests to find out if they have it. Okay, so where are they? Comment, find a lawyer, find a doctor, find news articles, find someone willing to take this and go way viral with it, because I'm over it. I'm over it, and I know I'm not the only one. And I will post this as much as I can on all these for all these parents. I will post it, and I hope to God it goes viral, and I hope to God I get contacted by someone who goes, oh crap, that's right. If we call it psychosomatic, if we call it all in their head, these people aren't getting help. And if they're calling that without running any tests, how stupid. Stupid. You hurt people by doing that. You hurt patients. You hurt kids. You are hurting people. Shame on you. And I'm done, because I'm so glad that my daughter is getting the help that she needs for her brain to be able to heal itself, and hope that those tics are not there for the rest of her life, because she got proper treatment. And I'm lucky. I am lucky that ibuprofen helped her. I am lucky that I was able to find different, natural supplements that, from all these parents that are just trying something. And I'm lucky that they found the proper antibiotic to help her. But I know not everybody is. And again, I'm empathetic. And I don't want these kids hurting. So this is just ridiculous. So stop it. Your TikTok theory is stupid. And shame on you. Duh! So that is my vent for 27 minutes. 27 and a half minutes. Okay. Yep, that's me. I don't know if you're ever going to see my face again on this. Yeah, who knows? Because like I said, I'm willing to help, and I will help any way I can. With very little medical knowledge. I have medical knowledge. I do a lot of research, but I don't have a degree. Oh, wait. Oh, yes, I do. I have an AA degree in medical field, so I know kind of what I'm talking about. Yeah, it's not helping. I'm gonna go. Okay, bye.